Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our curious viewers, Thrill Seeker 77. Thanks for the suggestion, Seeker. You asked, who started the first amusement park? If you've ever screamed on a roller coaster, eaten cotton candy for dinner, or paid $10 to win a stuffed banana wearing sunglasses, you might have wondered, who came up with this madness? Was there a brave soul who looked at a Ferris wheel and thought, yes, people should eat hot dogs, and then go on that? Today, we're strapping in and tracing the history of amusement parks, from royal gardens and healing springs to modern mega parks with castles, coasters, and talking animals in suits. So grab your churro and keep your arms inside the ride at all times, because this is going to be a wild one, right here on Explaining Everything. Before theme parks had mascots and safety regulations, humans still loved to be entertained, preferably with things that involved music, fire, and someone falling off a makeshift stage. Ancient civilizations had festivals, fairs, and public games. The Romans, they built the Colosseum, where people cheered on chariot races, gladiators, and the occasional "oops, there goes the lion" moment. But these weren't amusement parks. They were more like Netflix Live, with higher odds of someone losing a limb. Fast forward to medieval Europe, and we start getting fairgrounds. Places where people gathered to buy things, watch fire breathers, and lose their dignity on a wooden tilt-a-whirl powered by a very dizzy donkey. All right, time for the official answer. The first real amusement park, as in a permanent spot where people went to have fun and eat too much, was Bakken in Denmark. Also known as Dyrehavsbakken, which sounds like someone sneezing politely. Bakken opened in 1583. Yes, 1583. That's even older than most dad jokes. It all started when a natural spring was discovered in a forest north of Copenhagen. People began visiting to drink the water because they believed it had magical, healing properties. But then someone thought, you know what would make this better? Jugglers, and puppet shows, and maybe a guy wrestling a bear. Boom! Entertainers moved in, food stalls popped up, and the world's first amusement park was born. You came for the spring water. You stayed for the jester on stilts eating a boiled eel. Fun fact, Bakken is still open today. That's right, a 400-plus-year-old park where you can ride roller coasters and ponder the fact that Shakespeare was alive when it opened. By the 18th and 19th centuries, Europe's obsession with having a good time without getting arrested kicked into gear. Parks started adding mechanical rides. And by rides, we mean anything that spun you in a circle and made your lunch nervous. One of the first true amusement parks in the U.S. was Coney Island in New York. By the late 1800s, it had roller coasters, carousels, hot dogs, and enough flashing lights to be seen from the moon. Coney Island was like a sensory overload buffet. Do you want to scream in a spinning teacup while holding a sausage on a stick? Congratulations! You're in the right place. It became the gold standard for American amusement. Loud, chaotic, slightly sticky, and undeniably magical. Now, no story about amusement parks is complete without mentioning the mouse in the room. In 1955, Walt Disney decided to blow everyone's minds by launching Disneyland in California, the first modern theme park. Not just rides, stories, immersive lands, characters, long lines, the works. Walt wanted a clean, magical place where families could have fun together and spend their savings on a single churro. Disneyland introduced a whole new level of polish, imagination, and branding. Other parks saw Disney's success and immediately said, "We can do that too." Maybe without the castle, but with slightly more terrifying mascots. From that moment, theme parks became big business. Universal Studios, Six Flags, Legoland, SeaWorld, all wanted a piece of the action. And your wallet. So, what exactly is an amusement park? Here's the official-ish definition. A large outdoor area with rides, games, entertainment, and overpriced funnel cake that somehow ends up on your shirt, no matter how careful you are. Amusement parks are part thrill ride, part spectacle, and part sensory overload. They are designed to create joy and mild panic in carefully controlled chaos. They've got rides, spinning, dropping, looping. Games are rigged so hard that they make you question physics. Food that defies the food pyramid. Theming, castles, space stations, pirate coves, etc. And of course, souvenir photos that capture the exact moment you questioned your life choices on a log flume. Today, amusement parks are everywhere. In Japan, you've got Tokyo Disneyland and Fuji-Q Highland, home to some of the wildest coasters on Earth. In Germany, Europa Park lets you tour Europe without going through airport security. China's building parks at warp speed. And the UAE has Ferrari World, where you can go from 0 to "Why did I eat lunch first?" in seconds. Amusement parks have become cultural landmarks, vacation destinations, and an excuse for grown adults to wear mouse ears unironically. So, who started the first amusement park? Technically, it all began with Bakken in Denmark, where people went for magical water and stayed for the juggling fire eater. But really, amusement parks evolved over centuries, shaped by our undying need to scream on rides, eat fried dough, and pay $14 for a lemonade in a souvenir cup shaped like a unicorn. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to stand in a 2-hour line to ride something called the Vomitator. See you next time. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.